Chapter 2646. In just a few days, the demon aura had completely spread throughout the immortal realm. All the cultivators understood that something big had happened in the immortal realm. Unfortunately, except for a few, no one knew what had happened. The pervasive demon aura had brought great trouble to the vast majority of cultivators. The cultivation process, which had not experienced the real devil aura and demon aura for millions of years, finally showed its terrible drawbacks. Countless Shin Immortals and Golden Immortals could not bear the influence of such a huge demon aura and directly went mad. At the level of Almighty Immortal, it was slightly better, but it did not immediately cause them trouble. The influence of demon aura still inevitably appeared in their lives and cultivation. Their rate of cultivation plummeted. Under the influence of both demonic energy and Yao energy, those cultivators who were known to be the calmest and most capable of holding their breaths would often become irritated. Countless cultivators were incapable of maintaining their state of mind and began to go berserk. Just the battles between cultivators alone had already happened millions of times. As soon as the influence of demon aura appeared here, Yang Chun had already returned to Chunyang Palace. Since the formation had been completely shut down, Yang Chun had to go back even if he did not want to. There was a reason to delay before, but now there was no reason to delay. When Yang Chun returned to Chunyang Palace and saw elder brother Li Cheng, he was greeted by elder brother Li Cheng's faint smile, as if he had seen through his whole body. "You dare to come back?" Elder brother Li Cheng directly scolded Yang Chun with a smile. "Aren't you afraid that Hutu will lose her temper and directly tear you into pieces?" The only person in the world who dared to call the goddess by her name, and only by her name, was probably Li Cheng's brother, the Dao ancestor. In the face of elder brother Li Cheng's question, Yang Chun was in a good mood, especially when he saw elder brother Li Cheng smile. He also replied with a cheeky smile, "The goddess is stubborn. Maybe I can only disobey her decree once. For my sake, Huda may not care much about your previous behavior." Elder brother Li Cheng's face suddenly became serious. "But if you say that she is stubborn, I'm afraid that no matter how big my face is, I can't cover your troublesome mouth. Big brother, right is right, wrong is wrong." This time, Yang Chun even rebutted big brother Li Cheng. If it weren't for the goddess's good intention to do bad things before, why would those cultivators be unable to bear such a degree of monster chi and demonic chi? Isn't it normal that the demonic chi and demonic chi accumulated over thousands of years can't be blocked? Brother Li Cheng frowned and scolded Yang Chun. "Ho Tu has good intentions. How could he raise such an ungrateful person like you? You should know that you are also a beneficiary of Huda's actions. The demonic energy inside the mountain river geographical map is 10 times denser than outside." Yang Chun retorted mercilessly. "The living beings inside are no less than the ones outside, and their cultivation bases are much lower than the ones outside, but how many of them can't handle it? That's different." Big brother Li Cheng was planning to tell Yang Chun everything, so he quickly replied, "They've always been in that kind of illusion, so they're already used to it. The living beings in the 3 realms will get used to it one day." Yang Chun was completely tit for tat and didn't care whether what Big brother Li Cheng said was reasonable or not. Big brother, doing bad things with good intentions is doing bad things with good intentions. Her Highness is compassionate, and everyone admires her, but this is not a reason to do wrong at will and interfere with the way of heaven. If what Her Highness did was really right, why did you have to be stabbed on the immortal beheading platform? Was it just to delay the outbreak for a few days? Even if you're not afraid of Ho Tu, you have to give her some face, right? Li Cheng frowned more tightly. "Are you going to offend her so bluntly?" "Offend?" Yang Chun looked at big brother Li Cheng and laughed. He laughed because of big brother Li Cheng's anger. "Big brother, I even killed you and the Jade Emperor and Queen Mother. Is there anything more offensive than this?" Li Cheng looked at Yang Chun very seriously and looked at him. Yang Chun looked at big brother Li Cheng without being discouraged. He did not back down at all. After a long time, big brother Li Cheng suddenly smiled. He turned around and said, "Lady of Earth, how is it?" "Ah, The Lady of Earth's figure appeared from the void and stood beside Big Brother Li Cheng. If they were like Yang Chun back then, they wouldn't have lost their lives for my unrealistic fantasy. After speaking to Big Brother Li Cheng, the Lady of Earth turned to Yang Chun and bowed to Yang Chun. It's my fault for threatening you with your family's lives. I apologize. This time's apology, Yang Chun, was solidly accepted. Yang Chun did not dare to bear the gratitude of the Lady of Earth after giving a huge amount of merit to the Lady of Earth. However, she used the lives of Gao Yu and the others to threaten Yang Chun. Yang Chun accepted the apology with a clear conscience. In his heart, Gao Yu and the others were much more important than the huge amount of merit. Gao Yu and the others also appeared at this moment. After appearing, Gao Yu did not say anything and pounced into Yang Chun's arms. Yang Chun was unwilling to fake his death to save the people of the world, but he was willing to die for them. This was more precious than anything. Yang Chun hugged Gao Yu tightly and did not want to let go at all. The women knew who was the most important person in Yang Chun's heart, so they did not go forward. On the other hand, Sun Qingxue did not care and snatched a spot beside Gao Yu. She also crawled into Yang Chun's arms and was hugged by Yang Chun with one hand. Now, Yang Chun completely understood the Lady of Earth's test. It seemed to be to see if he was willing to fake his death at a low price to continue the goddess's path. At the same time, it also wanted to see if he was willing to resist the goddess's intentions and if he had the ability to use his own method to solve the two array formations. However, Yang Chun still did not understand what was the point of such a test. However, he didn't ask any more questions. He had absorbed the two formations for no reason, and his cultivation had skyrocketed by a large realm. He had already reaped the benefits, so asking such an ungrateful question would seem like he was trying to take advantage of the situation. Remember your choice. After Yang Chun's family had reunited enough, the goddess said, "In the future, don't give up your persistence because of anyone or anything. I'll remember." At this time, Yang Chun became respectful again. No matter what the goddess did, she was still the Lady of Earth. There were many people with lofty ideals behind her who had sacrificed themselves for the common people of the world. Yang Chun could not be disrespectful. Yang Chun also knew where the life essence came from. It must be the cultivators who voluntarily sacrificed themselves in the mouth of the goddess. However, at this time, Yang Chun really did not know what to say. "I'm going to atone for my previous mistakes." The goddess's voice sounded, but her body began to slowly become transparent and illusory. When you have the ability, take care of the three realms. Chapter 26:47. Looking at this scene, Yang Chun was still confused for a long time. What did the goddess mean by atonement? What? Just as he was feeling bewildered, he suddenly realized that there was a change in the mountain river geographical map. The third primordial spirit sensed that there was suddenly an incomparably powerful primordial spirit that the third primordial spirit could not control among the artifact spirits of the mountain river geographical map. In an instant, Yang Chun understood what the goddess meant by atonement. Is the goddess really planning to be the artifact spirit of the mountain river geographical map? Yang Chun was shocked once again. This was the first time Yang Chun had been shocked by the goddess. Yang Chun believed that the Lady of Earth definitely did not want to force the mountain river geographical map. At least, she would not do that in front of Brother Li Cheng. Moreover, the questions that Brother Li Cheng had asked Yang Chun were obviously what the Lady of Earth wanted to ask. Those two array formations were really just tests. She only wanted to know if Yang Chun's persistence was thorough enough and if there would be any deviation in the execution due to some uncontrollable changes. Now, it seemed that Brother Li Cheng and the Lady of Earth were very satisfied with the results of Yang Chun's test. That was why they made such a decision. The Lady of Earth's primordial spirit quickly filled the three realms of the mountain river geographical map, suppressing the dragon spirits into submission. The heavenly Tao that the goddess had grasped was much more thorough than that of Yang Chun's third primordial spirit. The mountain river geographical map was increasing at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. Whether it was Yang Chun or the third primordial spirit, in the face of all these changes, they just quietly watched, quietly observed, and did not have the slightest intention to stop. Since the goddess had already made a decision, and even brotherly Chung did not stop her, it would be useless even if Yang Chun went out. Why did he have to stop her? Fortunately, the primordial spirit of the Empress did not occupy the nest of the magpie to disperse Yang Chen's third primordial spirit, but after integrating the three realms and commanding all the dragon spirits, she positioned herself under Yang Chun and above everything else. You control the rules more firmly than I do, so you are the most suitable one to rule. The goddess communicated directly with Yang Chun through her third primordial soul. She made her intentions clear. Besides, I've also discovered the Jade Emperor's aura on you. You're the most suitable person to rule over the three realms. As if to confirm the goddess's words, Yang Chun did not increase his dignified aura for a long time after consuming the Jade Emperor's heavenly essence pill. The moment the goddess willingly became Yang Chen's third primordial soul, the Jade Emperor's aura in the heavenly essence pill was completely activated. In an instant, an indescribably noble and dignified aura appeared on Yang Chen's body. In Yang Chen's sea of consciousness, a layer of destiny that could control the fate of the three realms suddenly appeared. The soaring Heaven King Palace in his sea of consciousness had solidified by several times. Tens of thousands of strands of auspicious energy appeared and decorated the entire soaring Heaven King Palace like a real soaring Heaven King Palace. On the empty throne of the soaring Heaven King Palace, there was a clear figure. When Yang Chen's consciousness entered his sea of consciousness, he realized that the figure was him. In his sea of consciousness, it should be his main body. In the soaring Heaven King Palace, in his sea of consciousness, he actually sat on the Jade Emperor's throne. This was something that Yang Chun did not expect. Everything changed so quickly that Yang Chun was shocked by so many changes. Fortunately, once his main body sat on the Jade Emperor's throne, he completely woke up. Therefore, his consciousness had never been so clear. It was as if there would no longer be anything in the world that could confuse him or shock him after that moment. The goddess's recognition actually had such an effect. Yang Chun quickly understood the reason behind it. In the past, the third primordial soul controlled the heavenly Tao, the mountain river geographical map, and the rules. However, no living beings knew about it or recognized it. Therefore, at that time, the third primordial soul was only an artifact spirit. As soon as the Lady of Earth joined the mountain river geographical map, she controlled almost all the rules, but she served Yang Chun as her master. When the Lady of Earth recognized him, there was a consensus among all living beings in this world, just as all living beings recognized that the Jade Emperor ruled the three realms. Yang Chun naturally had such a change. There were many rules of the heavenly Tao that were previously unimaginable or incomprehensible in his mind. At this moment, they were all clearly presented in Yang Chen's sea of consciousness. The level of the mountain river geographical map had also risen out of thin air, directly surpassing the immortal beheading stage. In the eyes of the women, their husband's aura was becoming more and more intoxicating, addictive, and involuntarily making them want to be obedient. As for Gong Sunling, she stood in the same place and frantically improved her cultivation. When she met Yang Chun, she was still at the middle stage of Almighty Immortal, but in the blink of an eye, she had reached the late stage of Almighty Immortal, and her cultivation was still improving. Everyone didn't need to personally feel the improvement of the mountain river geographical map. They could see the clues from Gong Sunling. Only the mountain river geographical map, a life-bonded magic treasure, could make Gong Sunling like this. For a long time, Yang Chen's cultivation was the lowest in the family. The Golden Body secret art took care of 10 kinds of spiritual power, so his cultivation was slow to improve. But this time, Yang Chen finally got rid of this hat and became the one with the highest cultivation in the family, which was also a commendable thing. It would still take some time for the goddess to integrate with the mountain river geographical map, but Yang Chun had already recovered. Since he trusted the Lady of Earth to control the mountain river geographical map, he would let the goddess do what she wanted. Yang Chen's role would be more reflected in the judgment, especially in the mistakes made by some soft-hearted goddesses. But for the time being, Yangchen's third primordial spirit could definitely be lazy for a while. The goddess would definitely not make the mistake she had just made. Big brother, won't I offend the goddess too much? Yangchen asked Brother Li Cheng worriedly. Besides, isn't it inappropriate for the goddess to do this all the time? Alas, Brother Li Cheng sighed and said, after this incident, Hudu has always felt that she can't be forgiven. It's good for her to take the initiative to do something that can make her feel at ease. There's nothing inappropriate about it. Even if it's atonement, there should be a limit. Yangchen felt a little indignant for the goddess. Even if the goddess's previous decision was a little biased, there were more than one or two people who benefited. It can't be all on the goddess's head, right? Don't worry. The Lady of Earth will atone for her sins for 1,000,000 years. At that time, she will come out on her own. Brother Li Cheng was not worried about this. This is also a training for the Lady of Earth. After this time, she can also step into the threshold of becoming a saint. You just need to take good care of the Lady of Earth's body and return it to her when she comes out. Hearing that this could also make the Lady of Earth become a saint, Yangchen did not say anything else. If such a good thing was stopped, the Lady of Earth might fight him to the death. Yangchen was most willing to help others achieve their goals. Chapter 2648. The goddess settled down in the Mountain River geographical map and atoned for her previous mistakes. Basically, this matter was considered to have come to an end. Next, Yangchen told Big Brother Li Cheng about the Zhao family and the Mystic Heaven sect. Yangchen didn't mention much about Old Demon Yi's background. He only told Big Brother Li Cheng that Old Demon Yi was now being won over by the Zhao family to stabilize the godly realm. Without the Big Kun, Old Demon Yi's cultivation hadn't increased enough. If the Zhao family's godly realm wanted to quickly stabilize and become an independent world, the only way was to absorb and refine the soaring Heaven King Palace. Yangchen didn't tell Big Brother Li Cheng that the soaring Heaven King Palace was a half-realm. He believed that Big Brother Li Cheng already knew this. This was indeed the case. After hearing Old Demon Yi's plan, Big Brother Li Cheng nodded. This little guy is interesting. He can actually see places that many people can't. Sometimes, things were just so strange. The soaring Heaven Palace of the Golden Arches was clearly displayed in front of everyone, but no cultivator had noticed that it was actually a half-world. Perhaps people just didn't pay too much attention to things that they couldn't get their hands on. Under the current situation, this plan has a high chance of success. Big Brother Li Cheng didn't say much else. After confirming that Old Demon Yi's plan could be carried out, he gave his opinion. The Zhao family needs a lot of pressure to take the risk for the final victory. This was the truth. If the Zhao family didn't have the pressure of a fire burning their eyebrows, why would they take the risk of losing everything to touch the soaring Heaven King Palace? With so many people watching, they couldn't easily make a move under so many people's eyes. Also, what do you want to do with the Mystic Heaven sect? This isn't just talk. If we really make a move, I'm afraid you'll fall into it. Big Brother Li Cheng mentioned two key points. If Yangchen wanted to destroy the Zhao family and the Mystic Heaven sect, it wasn't as simple as moving his lips. Why would the Mystic Heaven sect fight to the death with the Zhao family? Actually, it's very simple. I'm just saying. Yangchen smiled. I only need to tell the current Jade Emperor that the soaring Heaven King Palace is a half-world. I also need to tell him that as long as he swallows up the Zhao family's half-world, the God Realm will become a world of its own. Then, he will be able to rule over the three realms, or even refine the three realms. Big Brother, what do you think the mysterious Heaven sect will do? Li Cheng stood where he was and pondered for a while. Suddenly, he pointed at Yangchen's nose and was speechless for a while. In Yangchen's mouth, the two key difficulties that he thought were really just a matter of moving his lips. The profound Heaven sect had always been at the top, so they had a desire to control anything good. As long as Yangchen told the Jade Emperor that the cloudy Heaven King Palace was a half-world, the Jade Emperor would definitely use the Mystic Heaven sect's manpower to try and refine it. This was only half a realm. If they knew that they could regain full control of the three realms after absorbing the Zhao family's half a realm, with the profound Heaven sect style of doing things, even if the Zhao family didn't want to do it, they would force them to. It was too easy to put pressure on the Zhao family and make them take the risk out of desperation. In order to obtain the Zhao family's half a realm, the Mystic Heaven sect would definitely use all sorts of forces to chase the Zhao family members in the celestial world to the ends of the earth. They would make the Zhao family live in fear and wait for the celestial world to stabilize and unify the world. When the Zhao family made a move on the Cloudy Heaven King Palace, the Mystic Heaven sect would definitely make thorough arrangements. Not only would they tie down the Zhao family, but they would also make it so that the cultivators from all sides wouldn't notice the abnormality of the Cloudy Heaven King Palace. In the past, the Mystic Heaven sect's foundation had been dug up, so they could only act violently in the celestial world. Now that they had the chance to regain control of the three realms, and it was complete control, the Mystic Heaven sect would definitely do anything to help them reach the top. In the end, as long as Yang Chun moved his mouth, the Mystic Heaven sect would take the initiative to complete the rest. Big Brother Li Qing's depression was also here. Others felt that it was incredible, but it was so simple for Yang Chun. How do you make the Mystic Heaven sect trust you? As soon as Big Brother Li Qing asked this question, he already had an answer in his heart. There was no need for Yang Chun to answer. In the hearts of the Mystic Heaven sect's higher-ups, Yang Chun was the highest level of undercover. What was there to trust? If they didn't trust him, would they slowly hand over the Mystic Heaven sect's hidden power to Yang Chun? Where did you get this information? You have to have an accurate source, right? Big Brother Li Qing changed the question. This problem was something that needed to be solved in the plan. We can't let the Mystic Heaven sect suspect anything. We can't tell them it's your friend hiding in the Zhao family, right? The Immortal slaying platform. Yang Chun smiled and gave his answer. Who wouldn't believe it if it was from the mouth of the former Jade Emperor? Big Brother Li Qing was speechless again. It was still the same thing. Other people had to think about it by all means possible, but it was just a matter of a sentence for Yang Chun. Yang Chun was the executioner of the Immortal slaying platform. He had obtained many secrets from the prisoners he had killed. It was normal for the former Jade Emperor to know something that others didn't know. Others couldn't verify it. Who could ask a dead person if he had said this before he died? As long as you can explain why your cultivation has improved by leaps and bounds, you can go find the people from the Mystic Heaven sect. Big Brother Li Qing decided to ignore Yang Chun's complicated but seemingly simple plan. After asking a question, he went to drink with Yang Chun. This problem was still easy to solve. As long as Yang Chun told the truth, it would be fine. Of course, this truth did not mean that he had absorbed the formation of the Lady of Earth. But Yang Chun could tell the truth to the senior members of the Mystic Heaven sect that he had absorbed the Immortal slaying platform. He believed that the senior members of the Mystic Heaven sect would definitely be happy to see Yang Chun, their disciple, get this kind of benefit. Yang Chun was not in a hurry to leave immediately. He drank with Big Brother Li Qing and went to visit Ancestor Lu, Yang Jian, Neza, and the others. After visiting the head of the palace, he reunited with the girls again. After ascending to the immortal world, he and the girls were separated more and less. This time, he had to get together for a while. While reuniting, he could also cultivate with the girls and stabilize his cultivation. Anyway, it would take some time for Old Demon E to return to the Zhao family. Yang Chun had to leave some time for Old Demon E. Otherwise, as soon as Old Demon E returned, the pressure here would definitely make the senior members of the Zhao family suspicious. At that time, if the plan of killing two birds with one stone failed, it would not be so easy to find such a good opportunity again. After reuniting with the girls for more than 10 years, when his cultivation was stabilized and everything looked normal, Yang Chun began to prepare to meet the senior members of the Mystic Heaven sect. The request for contact had been made. Yang Chun just had to wait for Sect Master Wang of the Mystic Heaven sect to come to him. Chapter 2649. To everyone's surprise, the core mountain gate that Yang Chun was looking for turned out to be on the back of the big koan. It was incredible that Yang Chun had done such a big thing. However, considering that the three ancestors of the Dragon Clan and other experts were all there, it was not incomprehensible that such a result could be achieved. In the cave mansion, Yang Chun met Sect Master Wang. However, at this time, Sect Master Wang was just a guide. When he brought Yang Chun into a certain palace in the cave mansion, Yang Chun met the current Jade Emperor, the current sect master of the Xintian sect, and the core high-level members. After Yang Chun met everyone one by one, he sat opposite everyone, and without saying a word, he immediately asked for forgiveness. No one doubted that the jade slip that Yang Chun received was related to the Xintian sect. The contents of the jade slip were carefully read. It was a kind of elixir recipe, and everything seemed normal. However, if one used a secret technique of the Xintian sect to read it again, they would find that it was another content. Yang Chun did not delay. After receiving the news, he went straight on his way. It didn't take long for him to arrive at the place recorded on the jade slip. He used a technique, and a cave mansion appeared. After Yang Chun flashed into it, the cave mansion disappeared without a trace in an instant, as if it had never existed. How good would it be if such an opportunity was directly given to the Xintian sect? Wouldn't that make the Xintian sect impregnable? Having said that, since everyone recognized the Chunyang Palace, it was not a bad thing for the Chunyang Palace to have such a stable development environment. It was acceptable. Since the Jade Emperor had said so, everyone would definitely not have any other intentions, so they nodded one after another. The sect master even encouraged Yang Chun with a few words, and the matter of refining the immortal beheading stage without permission was considered to be over. At least on the side of the Xintian sect and the Jade Emperor, the immortal beheading stage belonged to Yang Chun. Your Majesty, yes. Yang Chun quickly admitted, I was afraid that the elders would not agree, so I acted first and reported later. Please forgive me. This disciple is asking for forgiveness, but it is related to this matter. Yang Chun's explanation made everyone confused. Yang Chun's attitude made the Jade Emperor and the others speechless. He only told them when he had the results, and then he bluntly said that he was greedy. He did not seem to be happy or unhappy. In any case, he did not feel comfortable. Disciple was still a little greedy. That's why I hid the news of the great Kuan from the beginning. Please punish me, Grandmasters. In any case, Yang Chun just had to put on a humble attitude. Could it be that the experts present could really punish Yang Chun? Moreover, Yang Chun had already apologized from the beginning. His attitude was very good. So what else could they say? If this is the reason you want to apologize, then you don't have to blame yourself too much. The Jade Emperor smiled and directly set the tone for this matter. I let you be transferred to be the commander of the Immortal Slaying Platform because I wanted to see if you could completely control the Immortal Slaying Platform. Since you've already refined it, it's best to say a few words. In everyone's hearts, they thought that Yang Chun had lost people, so he was apologizing. Sect leader Wang wanted to protect him. Although his position was the lowest here, it did not prevent him from saying a few nice words for Yang Chun. You didn't succeed? Then you can't be blamed. After all, you just ascended not long ago, and your cultivation is not enough. What's going on with your cultivation? No wonder. The Jade Emperor did not expect Yang Chun to really refine the Immortal Slaying Platform. He looked at Yang Chun's cultivation and felt Yang Chun's aura. He smiled and asked, Is this the reason why your cultivation has increased by leaps and bounds? The matter of the core mountain gate can be considered a success. Yang Chun then began to explain the matter of the core mountain gate. It was still the same old routine, and the truth was the most trustworthy. Except for Ancestor LV, Yang Jian, and Neza, who did not appear, Yang Chun described the whole matter in detail, but the key role was played by the three ancestors of the dragon tribe. What a strange thing. What did you do? Although the current Jade Emperor had only seen Yang Chun once, he had a good impression of Yang Chun from what he heard from the higher-ups of the Xintian sect. At this moment, he did not show the majesty of the Jade Emperor. Instead, he smiled kindly and asked, Didn't you say that you wanted a group of people to build a core mountain gate? What's the result? Sect leader Wang did not wait, but he received a message. Of course, the message was sent by Sect leader Wang. Sect leader Wang sent a trusted disciple to give Yang Chun a jade slip, which was sent to Yang Chun in a very special way. At this time, everyone realized that Yang Chun's cultivation had reached the level of middle stage, infinite tribulation, true immortal. This shocked everyone. How many days had it been since Yang Chun ascended? Even if Yang Chen's aptitude was really amazing, it should not be so outrageous, right? Big Kuan. Who would have thought that Yang Chen solved the problem of the core mountain gate, was to build it on the back of the Big Kuan? As long as the Big Kuan transformed into a Big Peng one day, who could break the core mountain gate of the Chunyang Palace? Let alone break it. It was a problem to catch up with it. It was not a secret that Yang Chen had a good relationship with the dragon tribe. In the mortal world, Yang Chen had many magic treasures of the dragon tribe. In the spiritual realm, he and the princess of the dragon tribe killed the traitor of the dragon tribe, AO Senator. Therefore, after arriving in the immortal realm, he had a close relationship with the dragon tribe. This was not surprising to everyone. I'm a little greedy. I refined the immortal beheading stage on my own without informing the elders. If you wanted to deceive people, the easiest thing to believe must be the truth. That was what Yang Chen did. He told the higher-ups clearly about refining the immortal beheading stage. Of course, Yang Chen added some embellishments and said that he was a little greedy. It doesn't matter. At the critical moment, the Jade Emperor was generous. He waved his hand, and this matter was over. With the core mountain gate of the Chunyang Palace, it will develop better in the future. One day, we will recognize our ancestors. Won't we be stronger? Moreover, if we have a good relationship with Yang Chen and the dragon tribe, doesn't it mean that if we need it, our Xintian sect can also borrow the strength of the experts of the dragon tribe? The dragon tribe was not a force that could be ignored in the immortal realm. From this point of view, it seemed that everything was acceptable. Seeing that Yang Chen could rope in the dragon tribe, the sect master and the others pinched their noses and admitted that Yang Chen had committed a crime of not reporting what he knew. On the Jade Slip, Sect Master Wang indicated that during this critical period, the Xintian sect should try not to be too close to Chunyang Palace. Because Yang Chen's request this time was relatively high, he gave Yang Chen a brand new address and a brand new spell. Needless to say, this address must be the meeting place arranged by Sect Master Wang. Allow me to explain one by one. Yang Chen sorted out his words and began to explain to the core higher-ups of the Xintian sect and the current Jade Emperor. Chapter 2650. How did the Zhao family know where the Great Kuan is? Everyone knew that the result was that the Great Kuan was subdued, so they didn't care about the losses in the process at all. It was worth it even if thousands of masters were sacrificed, not to mention that Yang Chen had said before that none of those masters were lost. Everyone wondered how the Zhao family knew where the Great Kuan was. If it was accidentally leaked by Yang Chen, then Chunyang Palace needed to reorganize and clean up those disciples who were not loyal enough. If that wasn't the case, then there must be some other explanation. The Zhao family is after the Great Kuan. Yang Chen began to consciously bring everyone's thoughts to the place he wanted. This disciple seriously injured a master of the Zhao family and got some bad news from his mouth. Tell me. The Jade Emperor keenly guessed from Yang Chen's tone that Yang Chen's real apology might be at the back. At this time, he didn't care about other things and first talked about the Zhao family. The Zhao family needs the Great Kuan to help them stabilize that half-realm, the one they call the Divine Realm. Yang Chen had previously sent the Zhao family's captives to the Xintian sect. The matter of the Divine Realm was not fabricated, so everyone understood at this time. The Great Kuan has the ability to stabilize space, and the Zhao family wants it as soon as possible. However, the Zhao family didn't expect that I would persuade the entire dragon race to help, so they suffered heavy losses. Yang Chen didn't care about the urging from the other side. He just said what he knew and wanted to say. The Great Kuan entered the Mountain River geographical map first, so the Zhao family also knew that with the help of the dragon race, they would definitely not be able to get the Great Kuan. So the Zhao family can only find another way to quickly stabilize the Divine Realm. Yang Chen looked at the Jade Emperor's expression and quickly said the following things. According to the Zhao family's own estimation, they need about 10,000 years to stabilize the Divine Realm and form a world of its own. At that time, the Zhao family will be able to swim freely in the sea and fly freely in the sky. They will no longer be threatened. At the same time, they can also rely on the Divine Realm to forcibly refine the mortal spiritual realm and finally achieve the goal of completely controlling the immortal realm. Dream on. The profound heaven sect master sneered. They really dare to dream of such a good thing. Do they really think that we will give them 10,000 years to stabilize the divine realm? The sect master seemed to have said what everyone was thinking. The others, including the Jade Emperor, nodded silently, agreeing with the sect master's words. This disciple also knows that they're indulging in fantasy. Yang Chun followed the words of the sect master. They can't have enough time, and we won't give them this time. We know this, and so does the Zhao family. Therefore, after losing the opportunity to use the Great Kuan, the Zhao family had no choice but to use their last resort. What last move? Sect leader Wang blurted out. As far as I know, there's actually a half-world in the immortal realm. Yang Chun finally brought this topic to everyone's hearts. He said very neatly. The Zhao family also knows this, so they want to use the divine realm to refine and annex the other half-world at all costs. After the two half-worlds merge, they will become a complete world that is even more powerful than the divine realm. The Zhao family has already started this plan, and it will probably take about 1,000 years to complete. There's another half-world? The Jade Emperor's smile also disappeared. This news was too shocking. If this was really the case, if the Zhao family really succeeded, everyone would probably be doomed eternally. At this moment, the Jade Emperor looked at Yang Chun with a hint of coldness in his eyes. He asked with a sullen face, "You actually knew this long ago, but you never said it, right? Please forgive me, Your Majesty." Yang Chun didn't deny it at all. He just lowered his head and said, "This is the sin that I am talking about. This disciple's heart is still haunted by greed and some unrealistic ambitions. I always thought that if I could secretly refine this half-world into the Mountain River geographical map, with the help of the Kuan, this disciple would have a complete Mountain River geographical map of the three realms. Therefore, I have never told the elders. Please forgive me." The Jade Emperor was stunned. He didn't expect Yang Chun to not refute anything and directly admit that he was greedy and ambitious. So he hid the most important news. However, this was already the third time that Yang Chun said that he was greedy. After everyone heard the first two times, they didn't feel that it was completely unacceptable for Yang Chun to admit that he was greedy. This was the thought of a person with flesh and blood. If he only thought about revitalizing the sect and never thought about himself, then this person wouldn't dare to trust anyone. Was there such a good person in this world who didn't care about himself and only cared about helping others? Even immortals wouldn't do this. The normal way would be like Yang Chun, thinking about himself first and then the sect. Since everyone thought so, Yang Chun's way of thinking made everyone feel more at ease with him. As for the sin of concealing it, everyone really didn't have much of a thought of forcefully punishing him. Yang Chun had already confessed, and now he had also said the important news. He didn't do anything himself. Wasn't that enough? For the sect, this was enough loyalty. Such a big matter, and you actually hid it because of your greed. It is a big crime. The Jade Emperor directly gave his own judgment. Yang Chun listened on the opposite side and only nodded. He didn't argue and just did what everyone said. His attitude of admitting his guilt was very good. Since you were able to repent and admit your mistake, I will give you a chance. The Jade Emperor had been in this position for thousands of years, and his words were very dignified. He had his own style. You can be spared from death, but you can't escape punishment. In the next 2 years, you will be punished to practice alchemy skills and refine 1,009 transformation golden pills for the sect. Do you accept the punishment? I accept the punishment. Yang Chun said nothing and directly accepted the punishment. Hearing this punishment, sect leader Wang and the others also heaved a sigh of relief and felt relieved. It wasn't too light, but it wasn't too heavy either. At the end of the day, it was still to train Yang Chun's cultivation. Strictly speaking, it was lifting him up high and letting him down gently. In fact, the Jade Emperor had already forgiven Yang Chun. Where's the other half-world that you mentioned? After punishing Yang Chun, the Jade Emperor began to ask about the whereabouts of the other half-world that he wanted to know. Soaring Heaven King Palace. Yang Chun didn't hide and quickly answered. This answer stunned everyone. Everyone had been to the soaring Heaven King Palace, but no one had found a half-world. Among them, the Jade Emperor had been the soaring Heaven King Palace the longest. However, the Jade Emperor frowned and thought for a long time, but he still couldn't remember. He couldn't help but ask, "Where is the soaring Heaven King Palace?" "The soaring Heaven King Palace itself, Your Majesty." Yang Chun said this answer that shocked everyone. Chapter 2651. From the Jade Emperor to Sect Master Wang, from the top to the bottom. When they heard this answer, it was no different from when Yang Chen heard Old Demon Yi's answer. They were all in complete disbelief, especially the Jade Emperor. He went in and out of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches almost every day, but he never thought that the palace itself was a half-world. If Yang Chun hadn't told him the truth, he didn't know how long he would have been confused. In the past, he had always thought that it was just a high-grade cave abode. However, after the initial shock, all of the core members of the Mysterious Heaven sect began to have other thoughts. The cloudy palace of the Golden Arches was a half-world, and it was a half-world that the Zhao family wanted to refine and absorb. If they could use this opportunity to absorb and refine the Zhao family's God realm, it would mean that they could control the immortal realm and thus the three realms. When that time came, so what if the Mystic Heaven sect was cut off from the spiritual realm in the mortal realm? They could completely develop more perfectly than they had now. Just a few sentences ago, they were still punishing Yang Chan for his greed, but now, all of them were making the same mistake. Once this thought appeared, it multiplied like a virus and occupied the consciousness of the higher-ups of the Mystic Heaven sect. Their minds could no longer contain any other thoughts. What was more attractive than being able to completely control the three realms? This kind of desire was definitely not something that the higher-ups of the Mystic Heaven sect, who had already tasted power, could resist. It was also not something that the once high and mighty Mystic Heaven sect, which had now lost its foundation, could resist. At this moment, everyone no longer had any thoughts of pursuing Yang Chun. They wanted nothing more than to rush to the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches and refine it into something that belonged to the Mystic Heaven sect. The Zhao family should also immediately send the God realm to their doorstep and become a stepping stone for the Mystic Heaven sect to rise again. This was the right thing to do. Yang Chun stood opposite them and quietly looked at the higher-ups of the Mystic Heaven sect who appeared calm on the surface, but their hearts were in turmoil. He saw the ambition and desire that occasionally appeared on their faces uncontrollably. Yang Chen's expression didn't change. On the surface, he still treated them as respectable elders, but in his heart, it was as if he was looking at a group of dead people. Elders, this disciple also realized that this matter needs to be considered at length, so I feel that it is not appropriate to act rashly. When the higher-ups of the Mysterious Heaven sect slowly calmed down from their fanaticism, Yang Chun reminded them, even if the sect has the conditions to make a move, we can't act rashly lest we alert the enemy. On top of that, we have to give the cultivators of the heavenly court an explanation. Hence, I feel that it's best to make all the necessary preparations and pretend to be on the defensive when the Zhao family makes their move. Yang Chun said these words with sincerity, as if he was really thinking for the sake of the Black Heaven sect. He believed that everyone from the Jade Emperor to the Shintian sect master to sect master Wang, who had the lowest seniority, will be able to hear Yang Chen's good intentions. Logically speaking, this was a good and correct thing to say. The upper echelons of the Mysterious Heaven sect should take it seriously and act according to this mentality. However, Yang Chen knew very well that his words would not have the desired effect and might even have the opposite effect. Rather than saying that Yang Chen was advising the higher-ups of the Mysterious Heaven sect to delay and wait for the Zhao family to make a move before counterattacking, it was more accurate to say that Yang Chen was instigating the higher-ups of the Mysterious Heaven sect to make the first move. The Mysterious Heaven sect's status and way of doing things determined that they would never passively accept a battle. Since they knew everything, they knew what the opponent wanted, and they knew that the target was in their hands. Under such circumstances, waiting for the opponent to attack them before striking was not the mysterious heaven sect style. The mysterious heaven sect had always liked to make a move directly and kill any possible threat while they were still in the cradle. This time, they were facing the Zhao family, the public enemy of the world. There was no need to consider whether it was moral or not. No matter how they took the initiative to make a move, no one would jump out and say that the mysterious heaven sect was in the wrong. It should be known that ever since the mysterious heaven sect had been suppressed, whenever the mysterious heaven sect wanted to do something big or deal with the sect, they would be criticized by the other sects. This was not the first time that they had been restrained. However, no one could say anything against taking action against the Zhao family. They might even have to cooperate with the mysterious heaven sect. What was the mysterious heaven sect pursuing now? Wasn't it the position of a leader? Indeed, we need to think about it at length. The Jade Emperor was more clear-headed and immediately agreed with Yang Chen's words. However, he only agreed with a part of it. If they wanted to take action, they had to plan well first. They definitely would not be passive like what Yang Chen had said. They had to plan carefully and then take the initiative to attack. Everyone discussed for a while and did not come up with any specific conclusions for the time being. The only thing they were certain about was that they had to take action. The soaring Heaven King Palace had to take it, and the Zhao family could not let them succeed. As for how to do this, the higher-ups still needed to make further plans. They had to wait until the Jade Emperor confirmed that the soaring Heaven King Palace was indeed a half-world. What Yang Chen could do was to return the cave-dwelling magic treasure that contained the thousands of experts that the mysterious Heaven Sect had given to him last time to Sect Master Wang. The future plan would definitely require a large number of experts. Yang Chen and the Chunyang Palace definitely could not help openly. Therefore, the mysterious Heaven Sect still needed these experts. After all, one more tribulation true, Immortal meant one more chance of success. At this point, Yang Chen's goal of meeting the higher-ups of the mysterious Heaven Sect had been achieved, and he said goodbye. The Jade Emperor and the others encouraged Yang Chen again and told him to pay more attention to safety, alchemy, and so on. In fact, after receiving the news, the vague dissatisfaction with Yang Chen had disappeared without a trace. At the critical moment, this disciple still resisted the temptation and was loyal to the sect. This was the best proof. Before leaving, the Jade Emperor gave Yang Chen a batch of jade slips that recorded the alchemy experience of the alchemy masters of the mysterious Heaven Sect in the Immortal realm. This was a reward for Yang Chen. The previous punishment was not revoked, but he would still be rewarded for his contributions. After going back, find a safe place to do closed-door training and announce it to the public. Sect Master Wang gave Yang Chen instructions in person. This was also an action plan in advance. It's best not to let anyone know where your closed-door training is. In this way, the Zhao family can't find you and can't get the Mountain River geographical map. They can only take the risk and attack the soaring Heaven King Palace. This is convenient for us. Then this disciple can't help? Yang Chen seemed to be a little unwilling and wanted to intervene in it to help, and asked anxiously, "Don't act rashly and expose yourself." Sect Master Wang comforted Yang Chen with a smile. "Believe me, in another 1,000 years, you can return to the mysterious Heaven Sect." Chapter 2652. Letting Yang Chen go into seclusion was to make the Zhao family have no choice but to target the soaring Heaven King Palace. Secondly, it was a warning to Yang Chen that he wanted to take all the benefits for himself. Since Yang Chen had such thoughts before, who knew if there would be any accidents if Yang Chen were to join in? Everyone present had been in a high position for a long time, and they all understood that loyalty was only because the price of betrayal was too low. Looking at Yang Chen's loyalty, who knew if he would have other thoughts when he was faced with the temptation of the soaring Heaven King Palace? They might as well let him participate in the plan, but stay away from the soaring Heaven King Palace, so that he would completely give up on the idea. As for Yang Chen's credit, it was entirely possible to reward him after everything was settled. Yang Chen left unwillingly, at least in the eyes of the Jade Emperor and the higher-ups. However, they would never give Yang Chen a chance at this time. Yang Chen's concealment made them very passive. If they had known earlier, they might have taken action more than 1,000 years ago, and they would have had a higher chance of success. If they were to make hasty arrangements now, they would definitely be in a passive position. After returning to Chunyang Palace, Yang Chun immediately announced to the public that he would go into seclusion for 1,000 years to practice the art of alchemy and strive to break through to the level 9 elixir master, just like what sect leader Wang had instructed. In this regard, everyone was happy to see it happen, and they sincerely wished that Yang Chun could become a level 9 elixir master as soon as possible. Master Yang was one of the few elixir masters in the sect who were willing to share their elixirs with the outside world. Although the elixirs that Master Yang refined personally were expensive, the quality of the elixirs was really strong. You get what you pay for. They had never felt that the elixirs that they bought from Master Yang were not worth it. Everyone supported Yang Chun to become a level 9 elixir master as soon as possible. The only regret was that Master Yang didn't go into seclusion in the sect, but chose a place that no one knew about for seclusion. This was normal. No one wanted to be disturbed when they were trying to break through. Another strange thing was that apart from one of the core higher-ups of Chunyang Palace who was in charge of the sect, the others also announced that they would go into seclusion with a large number of core disciples. This news did not attract the attention of other cultivators. Only the higher-ups of the mysterious heavens sect knew what was going on. This was definitely Yang Chun to prevent the Zhao family from using the pure Yang Palace to threaten Yang Chun. So he directly used a drastic measure. Anyway, the pure Yang Palace already had a core mountain gate and directly brought a large number of core disciples into the core mountain gate. The rest, except for a core elder, were not so important roles that could only maintain the operation of the mountain gate. Even if it was completely destroyed, it was estimated that Yang Chun would not blink his eyes. The mysterious heaven sect was very satisfied with Yang Chun's cooperation. In addition, through the mouths of the experts that Yang Chun had returned, the higher-ups of the mysterious heaven sect also knew that the Zhao family did launch an attack on a large scale when they tamed the big kraken. This also proved that Yang Chun did not lie. Since the Chunyang Palace and Yang Chun had been arranged according to the plan, the mysterious heaven sect also launched an attack. First, the Jade Emperor clearly confirmed that the soaring Heaven King Palace was indeed a half-world. Then, the mysterious heaven sect began to pressure all parties in various ways and jointly launched a large-scale cleanup against the Zhao family. It was unknown how many experts of the Zhao family had given themselves away. The experts of the Zhao family, who had been spared, had been annihilated by the cooperation of the major sections. If they were not captured alive, then they were killed. In short, as long as they revealed even the slightest trace of themselves, they would not be able to escape. Under great pressure, the Zhao family could only secretly bring all the cultivators outside the realm of the gods back to the realm of the gods in order to avoid greater losses. Now that the realm of the gods needed to stabilize and transform, it was the time for many cultivators to contribute. Old Demon E designed a formation for the Zhao family that could allow many people to inject spiritual power together and use the formation to stabilize the realm of the gods. This also gave the Zhao family another hope of stabilizing the realm of the gods. In the grand operation, no one noticed that many experts of the mysterious heaven sect began to slowly disappear from everyone's sight. They were either cultivating in seclusion, going out to train, or going missing in battle. In short, many of the experts of the mysterious heaven sect faded from everyone's sight. Recently, the Jade Emperor had a new habit. He liked to spend the night in the soaring Heaven King Hall. It seemed that he felt that cultivating in the soaring Heaven King Hall would help him increase his cultivation. Hence, every night, he would ask the guards to stay away. In addition, through some planned arrangements, most of the experts guarding the soaring Heaven King Palace became the subordinates of the mysterious Heaven sect and the sect that was secretly controlled by the mysterious Heaven King Palace. The experts of the other sect were skillfully arranged to other palaces or the Jade Pool. Gradually, when the experts of the Heavenly Court went in and out of the soaring Heaven King Palace, they vaguely realized that the soaring Heaven King Palace seemed to be affected by the Jade Emperor. There was a lot of the Jade Emperor's aura. Everyone noticed it, but no one took it seriously. It was normal. The Jade Emperor had been in the Soaring Heaven King Palace for a long time. It was very normal for the Soaring Heaven King Palace to have the Jade Emperor's aura. Maybe it was the aura that the Jade Emperor released when he improved his cultivation in the Soaring Heaven King Palace. The investigation of the Zhao family became stricter. This time, the Heavenly Court offered a huge amount of merit points and treasures as a reward for the cultivators who could find the nest of the Zhao family. Faced with the reward that could even make an infinite tribulation true Immortal go crazy, countless cultivators stepped on the road to find the nest of the Zhao family. They went through all kinds of deep mountains and forests, deep sea and underwater, and all kinds of corners. In such a situation where almost everyone was involved, the Zhao family also felt the pressure of a mountain. If there was no way to break the situation, they would be discovered before the transformation of the divine realm. At that time, when the army arrived, the Zhao family had no other choice but to fight to the death and be annihilated. Originally, the Zhao family wanted to find Yang Chun to get the Mountain River geographical map and the Big Koan. However, when Yang Chun went into closed-door cultivation, the Zhao family had no other way. They were forced into a corner. If they couldn't find a way out, they would die. After a period of suffering, the Zhao family finally started to get the Soaring Heaven King Palace as Old Demon Yi had planned. With a half-world, it would be much easier to refine and absorb the other half-world. The Zhao family had sent out at least 600 experts who had the opportunity to get close to the Soaring Heaven King Palace. After sacrificing almost 99% of them, they had finally connected the Divine Realm and the Soaring Heaven King Palace and started to refine with all their might. Once they started, the Zhao family realized that they were in big trouble. The Soaring Heaven King Palace was being refined by someone else, and they were fighting for it. The Zhao family was shocked when they thought that they had been exposed. However, after a period of time, they realized that the other party was really fighting with them to refine the Soaring Heaven King Palace. They had no intention of revealing it to the outside world. Then, they realized that the Black Heaven sect, led by the Jade Emperor, was fighting with them. The Zhao family immediately guessed the Black Heaven sect's plan. After all, the Zhao family had the first opportunity. If they could refine the Soaring Heaven King Palace, they would be able to control everything. Under such circumstances, the Zhao family didn't care about anything else and fought with the Black Heaven sect crazily. Chapter 2653. Although Yang Chun claimed to be in seclusion, he was also constantly paying attention to the movements in the Soaring Heaven King Palace. At the same time, he was also paying attention to the movements in the Xintian sect. The experts of the Xintian sect would not appear in front of others for various reasons. Yang Chun knew where they were. Sometimes, Yang Chun could not help but admire the methods of the Xintian sect. The Xintian sect had sent almost all of their tribulation true immortals to refine it, and the Zhao family was also frantically snatching it. However, on the surface, the Soaring Heaven King Palace did not seem to have changed. Even the ministers of the Heavenly Court did not notice anything unusual. However, there were some things that couldn't be covered up. The fight to refine the Soaring Heaven King Palace wasn't intense, but when the fight became white-hot in the future, the ministers who had entered the Soaring Heaven King Palace might be involved. Soon, there was news from the Heavenly Court. The Jade Emperor discussed with all parties about borrowing the Soaring Heaven King Palace during a meeting with the ministers. The Jade Emperor's reason was that he found out that he could use the Soaring Heaven King Palace to strengthen his imperial cultivation. Hence, he wanted to borrow the Soaring Heaven King Palace for a long time to cultivate in seclusion. The long time was about 1,000 years. In the long journey of cultivation, it was just a blink of an eye. However, the Soaring Heaven King Palace was not an ordinary place. Even if the Jade Emperor wanted to borrow it, he could not just casually ask for it. Therefore, the Jade Emperor and the Xintian sect paid a high price. First, they gave the sect and ministers a certain amount of compensation. More importantly, when the Jade Emperor was in seclusion, the matters of the Heavenly Court were handed over to a representative chosen by all parties. The Xintian sect's right to speak was greatly reduced. It was basically handed over to the other sect. This also meant that in the past 1,000 years, the heavenly court was actually controlled by the sect. This exchange made all parties agree with the Jade Emperor's request. Wasn't it just to borrow the soaring Heaven King Palace to cultivate for 1,000 years? How big of a deal was it? Anyway, the soaring Heaven King Palace was not a private property. It had always been the Jade Emperor's exclusive meeting hall. Now that the Jade Emperor wanted to monopolize it for 1,000 years, no one would think it was inappropriate. Of course, the key was that the compensation and the terms of the exchange had worked. No matter what, the Jade Emperor had finally found a legitimate reason to occupy the soaring Heaven King Palace. The representatives of the various factions had indirectly controlled the celestial heavens for 1,000 years, which also gave them a buffer time to unravel the huge secrets of the celestial heavens. Everyone was happy to do this. He was so happy that the Jade Emperor would take the initiative to let go. Everyone pounced forward as if they had gained a huge advantage. They bit the bait and did not let go. The Xintian sect got what they wanted, so they boldly sealed the soaring Heaven King Palace to fight against the Zhao family. As for opening the heavenly court to the other major sects for a mere 1,000 years, the higher-ups of the Mystic Heaven sect never felt that it was a problem. In any case, he would have complete control over the 3 realms in the end. So what if he let them rejoice for a while? With this reason, the Jade Emperor basically locked himself in the Lingxiao King Palace and focused on cultivating. Yang Chun, who was hiding outside, soon discovered that not only had most of the disciples of the Mystic Heaven sect disappeared, but many of the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals had also started to fade out of everyone's sight. Yang Chun did not need to investigate to know that these experts must have been sent to the soaring Heaven King Palace to refine the soaring Heaven King Palace together to fight against the Zhao family. The Zhao family was now staking everything on one throw. This was the only way left. If they did not want to be attacked, they could only take the risk. Relatively speaking, the Zhao family did have the upper hand in the beginning when they gathered all the disciples of the Zhao family to forcibly refine the soaring Heaven King Palace. The Mystic Heaven sect had underestimated the determination of the remaining forces of the Zhao family. When they first came into contact with the Zhao family, they were defeated. The Mystic Heaven sect could not gain the upper hand in the tug of war by relying on the experts of the true immortals alone. They had no choice but to bring the disciples of the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals, who were hundreds of times more than the disciples of the true immortals, into the soaring Heaven King Palace to fight together. Decades later, most of the disciples of the Golden Immortals and Xian Immortals of the Mystic Heaven sect announced that they were in closed-door training. Of course, the major sect noticed the abnormality of the Mystic Heaven sect. However, everyone just thought that the Mystic Heaven sect had lost its foundation and temporarily lost the support of the Jade Emperor, so they deliberately kept a low profile. They half-closed the mountain gate to show that they did not want to cause trouble during the period when the Jade Emperor was in closed-door training. Everyone was happy that the arrogant Mystic Heaven sect had now bowed in the face of reality. However, everyone thought that this was the case. There would be a lot of topics to talk about in their spare time, but they did not pay much attention to the Mystic Heaven sect. It could be said that there was only an empty shelf left in the mountain gate of the Mystic Heaven sect, just like the Chunyang Palace. The Mystic Heaven sect was big, and the way they did things in the past left a deep impression on everyone. Therefore, an empty shelf could scare many people. If a sect attacked the Mystic Heaven sect at this moment, it was very likely that the mountain gate of the Mystic Heaven sect would be destroyed. This time, the Mystic Heaven sect could be considered to have gambled everything. The lives of all the disciples and the future glory of the sect were all on this bet. They were quite determined to succeed or die trying. While Yang Shan was paying attention to the Mystic Heaven sect, he was also concentrating on studying alchemy in the Mountain River geographical map. This was not to say that Yang Shan was really so obedient. It was just that his cultivation had improved too quickly in a period of time, and his realm was not so stable. It was just the right time to use alchemy to familiarize and consolidate his realm. At the same time, he could also improve his alchemy skills. Why not? Big brother Li Cheng, Ancestor Lu, Yang Jian, Neza, and a group of experts of the Dragon Clan were all on the Mountain River geographical map. Everyone agreed with Yang Chen's plan, especially Neza. He felt that this was simply the pinnacle of subduing the enemy without doing anything himself. With a wave of his hand, he made the two super powerful forces, the Mystic Heaven Sect and the Zhao family, fight each other and consume each other's energy. Then, he waited for Yang Chen to appear at the critical moment and reap the benefits. At the same time, it also let the people of the Dragon Clan see the hope of the three realms being completely independent in the Mountain River geographical map. When the Divine Realm and the soaring Heaven King Palace could not hold on any longer, they would completely become Yang Chen's possessions. The dream of the three ancestors of the Dragon Clan for many years would come true. Everyone was willing to see that scene, so they also stayed in the Mountain River geographical map and waiting for the moment when they needed to crazily exert their strength. Yang Chen himself had a deeper understanding of the life essence in the process of absorbing the formation this time. At the same time, he used his understanding to repair the three-star alchemy furnace. In just a few decades, the three-star alchemy furnace was completely repaired by Yang Chen. The power of the three-star alchemy furnace was completely revealed. Any pill refined by him had the effect of increasing one's fortune and longevity. Chapter 2654. Unfortunately, the alchemy furnace was repaired, but the effect of the elixir refined by Yang Chen was very small. Yang Chen also specially asked Big Brother Li Cheng what this problem was. After Big Brother Li Cheng took the three-star alchemy furnace and studied it, he told Yang Chen the answer. Unless it reached the level of the 9 Revolutions golden pill, ordinary elixir, even if it was refined by the 8 Revolutions, would not be able to completely seal the power of Fu Luxiu into the elixir. Perhaps the moment the elixir came out of the furnace, the increase of Fu Luxiu was strong enough, but as long as it came out of the furnace, it would slowly dissipate. If it took a little longer, in half a year to a year, it would dissipate. The reason was that Yang Chen's alchemy level was too low. Yang Chen finally completely settled down and studied alchemy. Yang Chen had accumulated a lot of experience in alchemy techniques and some key points in refining medicinal materials for a long time in reverse alchemy. This time, he got a lot of alchemy experience from the Jade Emperor. After carefully studying it, he had a few more plans in his heart. After a few years of retreat, Yang Chen came out and began to refine. At first, Yang Chen did not refine any difficult elixir, but the most basic elixir, the essence cultivating pill that he learned when he first learned alchemy. The most basic elixir, replenishing the consumed spiritual energy, was also the most stable and peaceful elixir. Generally, as long as there was no major problem with the principle, even if the alchemy technique was slightly bad or slightly wrong, the elixir delivery time would be more or less wrong. The elixir could still be successfully refined. Yang Chen did not aim too high, but chose this most basic and least conflicting elixir as his goal to challenge the 9 Revolutions golden pill. At the same time, this kind of elixir also required the shortest time and the lowest cost to refine the 9 Revolutions golden pill. From the 1st to the 8th Revolutions, Yang Chen completed it very easily. When he began to refine the 9th Revolutions, he began to have problems. The requirements for the 9 Revolutions refinement were extremely high. The fire and technique couldn't be a little off. Several times in a row, under Yang Chen's impatience, he failed. Yang Chen knew very well that this was because he had worries in his heart, so he couldn't wholeheartedly break through. Although Yang Chen was considered to be able to keep his composure, in this crucial moment of the final battle, even Yang Chen could not remain calm. Until the specific news came out, Yang Chen would still be worried. Fortunately, at this point, Yang Chen received the news that the Black Heaven sect was keeping a low profile and had half closed their doors. This also meant that the mysterious Heaven sect was just like the Zhao family, staking everything on one throw. At this point, Yang Chen's worries were completely put aside. He was no longer worried about whether the profound Heaven sect and the Zhao family had completely fallen into the trap. With his mood relaxed, he no longer had so many distracting thoughts about alchemy. When he tried to refine the pill again, everything was much smoother. Originally, Yang Chun already had a very high level of alchemy. Coupled with the experience gained from reverse alchemy, the only thing that restrained him was the lack of cultivation. But now, Yang Chen's cultivation had also rushed to the middle stage of infinite tribulation, true immortal, and his cultivation was also sufficient. Therefore, this furnace of elixir could be said to have no reason not to succeed. Success. When Yang Chen used the last elixir ending gesture, 3 round golden elixirs flew into Yang Chen's hands. In addition to the color of the whole body of the elixir, there were no other characteristics of the elixir. Even when he put his nose close to it and sniffed, he could not smell the smell of the medicinal materials. This was the real 9 turns golden elixir. Even if it was only the 9 turns of the foundation culturing elixir, once it was completed, there would be an earth-shaking change. It was not easy to refine the 9 turns golden elixir. Even in the final 9 turns of the refining, there would be a situation where a large number of elixirs would be combined, so there would not be too many elixirs in each furnace. Yang Chen was able to successfully refine 3 elixirs on his first try, thanks to the fact that he was refining the foundation culturing elixir. Otherwise, if he could refine some high-level elixirs, Yang Chen would thank the gods. After personally swallowing a 9 turns spirit culturing elixir, Yang Chen finally felt the strong aura of the 3-star blessing in the elixir. At this point, Yang Chen could be said to be a qualified level 9 alchemy master, even if he successfully refined the most basic foundation culturing elixir. In fact, which level 9 alchemy master did not choose a low-level elixir during the first 9 turns of refining? From the beginning of the announcement of retreat to the present, it has been more than 100 years. If you count from the time Yang Chen reached the level 8 alchemy master to the present, it took Yang Chen almost 2,000 years to reach the level 9 alchemy master. This was almost 2/3 of the total time spent to reach the level 8 alchemy master from the level 1 alchemy master. This was only the most basic foundation culturing elixir. If it was replaced by other high-level elixirs, I am afraid that this time could be balanced. Yang Chen didn't feel that this was incredible at all. The women who had been accompanying him were even more open for their husband. After cultivating for more than 5,000 years, he could enter this threshold. Their husband could be said to be a real alchemy genius. How many senior alchemy masters were still wandering around the threshold of the level 7 or level 8 alchemy master at this age, but their husband had already stepped into the door of the level 9 alchemy master, which was enough to make them proud of their husband. The news of Yang Chen's success also made Big Brother Li Cheng nod continuously. Ancestor Lu was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. Whoever had such a disciple would be as happy as Ancestor Lu. After many elders drank with Yang Chen and encouraged him, Yang Chen didn't announce the news to the public. He continued to stay in seclusion and continued to improve his alchemy skills while waiting for the battle between the Zhao family and the Xintian sect to reach its climax. The two sides had only been fighting for more than 100 years, so it couldn't be seen for the time being. There was nothing unusual in the soaring Heaven King Palace. After Yang Chen continued to refine other high-level elixirs and successfully researched a few more, there was finally a big movement in the soaring Heaven King Palace. It wasn't because of the battle, but because the aura of the soaring Heaven King Palace seemed to be unable to be suppressed after more than 400 years. It started to emit an emperor's aura. Almost all the cultivators in the heavenly court saw this scene, but everyone knew that it was the Jade Emperor cultivating, so no one felt that there was anything wrong. The Jade Emperor was cultivating in the soaring Heaven King Palace. Wasn't it very normal for the Emperor's aura to dissipate? However, Yang Chen understood that it should be because both sides couldn't suppress the dissipation of the Emperor's aura during the battle. This meant that the battle between both sides was very intense. If the soaring Heaven King Palace was like this, he believed that the Zhao family wouldn't be any better. Sure enough, it wasn't long before another piece of news arrived. For some unknown reason, Tempestuous waves had surged without end at the largest ocean in the immortal dimension, and it had already attracted many cultivators to head over to investigate. However, as soon as they got close, they would be attacked by a powerful array. They didn't know which force had set up a huge and powerful array in the depths of the ocean. It was so powerful that no one could enter. Only Yang Chen knew that it must be where the Zhao family's nest was. Chapter 2655. The mysterious Zhao family had finally revealed the location of their lair under the pressure of the Mystic Heaven sect and the other forces. Even though many sect members didn't know that it was the Zhao family's lair that they had been searching for, the Zhao family still broke out in a cold sweat. There was no such thing as an eternal secret in this world. It was impossible for such a huge Zhao family to hide without leaving a trace. Once their lair was exposed, even if there was a powerful formation protecting it, it wouldn't be able to withstand the cultivators' attacks over a long period of time. It would collapse one day. The only thing the Zhao family could do was to race against time. They had to refine the soaring Heaven King Palace before everyone realized that it was the Zhao family's lair. They had to refine the soaring Heaven King Palace before their lair was besieged by everyone. They had to refine the soaring Heaven King Palace before their lair was breached. In short, the longer they were disturbed, the better. The perfect situation would be for the Zhao family to achieve their goal before everyone could react. They would refine the entire realm of divinity and the soaring Heaven King Palace before controlling the realm of divinity. This way, no matter how the cultivators reacted, it would have nothing to do with them. The cultivators' fates were already determined. Those who obeyed them would prosper, and those who opposed them would die. Of course, this was impossible. No matter how optimistic the Zhao family disciples were, they wouldn't dare to hope that they wouldn't be discovered. This wasn't realistic. As long as more people paid attention to the formation, it would only be a matter of time before it was opened. By then, if the Zhao family couldn't gain the upper hand, they would probably be destroyed. According to the Zhao family's top experts' estimates, the formation could only last for 1,000 years at most if half of the cultivators in the realm of divinity attacked it. If they gathered more power, it would probably only last for a few hundred years. Under such circumstances, all the Zhao family disciples tried their best to refine the soaring Heaven King Palace and consolidate the realm of divinity. All of a sudden, the pressure on mysterious Heaven's sect skyrocketed. The Zhao family also occupied the majority of the soaring Heaven King Palace. How could this be? If the soaring Heaven King Palace was annexed by the Zhao family, mysterious Heaven sect would definitely die without a burial place. Faced with this kind of embarrassing situation, the mysterious Heaven sect's side completely erupted with their potential. Almost all the disciples were summoned back to the sect. Regardless of their cultivation, they were all brought to the soaring Heaven King Palace to participate in the refining process. That was not all. Many disciples from affiliated sect that seemed to be controlled by Dark Heaven sect were sent to soaring Heaven King Palace. At this time, they couldn't care less about keeping a secret. Many of the sect's relationships were completely exposed. In the past, everyone had only guessed that they were related to the mysterious Heaven sect, but now it was confirmed. However, it didn't matter now. If they really succeeded, it didn't matter if the sect was exposed. The mysterious Heaven sect was in control of the situation, so it wasn't a big deal. If they failed, everyone would be finished, and there would be no need to talk about keeping secrets. Profound Heaven sect's power multiplied under such circumstances, and they started to take back the soaring Heaven King Palace that they had lost bit by bit. Seeing that the situation had returned to a balanced state, both the mysterious Heaven sect and the Zhao family were very dissatisfied and even more anxious. They only had 1,000 years. If the Zhao family couldn't refine the soaring Heaven King Palace within 1,000 years, there would only be one ending for them once the formation was broken. The Zhao family had worked hard for hundreds of thousands of years, and no one wanted to face such a situation. The mysterious Heaven sect was also very anxious. The Jade Emperor had borrowed the soaring Heaven King Palace to cultivate for 1,000 years, and the fact that the mysterious Heaven sect had moved out couldn't be hidden for long. They believed that cultivators would soon see that the mysterious Heaven sect was empty. There were only a few hundred years left. If they couldn't defeat the Zhao family, they wouldn't have a chance to regain control of everything. At that time, even if the Zhao family didn't succeed, the mysterious Heaven Sect wouldn't have a chance anymore. Without a foundation, the mysterious Heaven Sect could only watch as other sects became more and more powerful. Unless they took the initiative to expose Chunyang Palace, the mysterious Heaven Sect would lose a lot of spies. Although they could still awkwardly maintain their position, they would lose the initiative. In particular, the ownership of the realm of divinity would be hard to say. With all parties fighting for it, there would inevitably be another destructive war. It wasn't impossible for someone to start another war to change dynasties. The mysterious Heaven Sect was in charge of the Heavenly Court, so they definitely didn't want to see this happen. Both sides took out their last trump cards at the same time. The hidden sect that hadn't been exposed were all put on the table by both sides. One side entered the soaring Heaven King Palace, and the other entered the realm of divinity to continue the competition between the two sides. There were no more hidden forces. As long as they could be used, they all joined this war. The mysterious Heaven Sect originally wanted to recruit Chunyang Palace. After all, although the disciples of Chunyang Palace didn't have much cultivation, they couldn't handle a large number of people. However, Yang Chun had taken the initiative to disappear under their suggestion or order. Even the people of the mysterious Heaven Sect couldn't find Yang Chun's whereabouts. Moreover, Yang Chun had a close relationship with the Dragon Clan. It was very likely that the entire Dragon Clan was in Chunyang Palace. If they really got Chunyang Palace to join, the mysterious Heaven Sect's chances of winning would increase greatly. However, when the time came, it would be hard to say who would have the final say. The spiritual realm's Zhao family and the other major sect fought so fiercely. In the end, everyone discovered that the real mastermind was the traitor of the Dragon Clan. AO Senator, everyone still remembered this lesson. If it wasn't for the fact that they were facing a life and death situation, perhaps no one would want the Dragon Clan to join. Both sides used their last trump cards and fought with all their might. Suddenly, one day, the Zhao family's experts discovered that their realm of divinity and the soaring Heaven King Palace seemed to be slowly merging. The part that they had refined was also going deeper into the soaring Heaven King Palace. Similarly, the mysterious Heaven Sect also discovered that the two sides were merging. The part that the mysterious Heaven Sect had refined was also going deeper into the realm of divinity. The two of them formed a strange and fused situation where both of them were in each other's bodies. The mysterious Heaven Sect and the Zhao family were both overjoyed. Everyone had fought for so long and refined for so long. What was their goal? Wasn't it just to let the two halves of the realm of Rongha City take it for themselves? Now that the two halves of the realm of divinity were merging, becoming an independent world was already in sight. All that was left was to see who was stronger and who could get their hands on it. Both sides used all their strength to start fighting. Right now, they only needed one last step. Once the ownership of the complete realm of divinity was confirmed, they would be able to decide whether the mysterious Heaven Sect would regain control of the three realms or the Zhao family would control all living beings in the world. No one would give up at a time like this. Everyone continued to fight crazily. Although they weren't fighting face-to-face, the fight between the two sides had already reached a white-hot stage. It was definitely not as merciful as a fight between a sword and a spear. Under these circumstances, it was either you die or I die. No one noticed that there was a sneaky figure in the realm of divinity waiting for an opportunity to leave the realm of divinity. He easily passed through the protective formation and disappeared into the vast ocean. Chapter 2656. Yang Chen's attention was almost all on the Zhao family's nest these days. The Xintian sect was in the soaring Heaven Palace of the Golden Arches, so there were more people paying attention to the soaring Heaven Palace. There were fewer cultivators paying attention here, so Yang Chun didn't have to worry about being seen through. Some cultivators thought that the protective array formation of the Zhao family's nest was a protective array formation of an ancient relic, because the principle of the array formation seemed very old. Many cultivators were thinking about it, but there weren't a lot of experts from the major sect paying attention. A relic wasn't worth the major sect sending out a large number of people. Under such circumstances, Yang Chun and a few elders and experts of the Relic Dragon clan could easily monitor all the changes here. When the figure came out from inside, Yang Chun immediately went to the opposite side of him. Old Demon saw Yang Chun as soon as he came out of the array formation. At this time, even though he was a cunning old fox, he couldn't help but admire Yang Chun's power. After all, he didn't tell Yang Chun when he would withdraw. The fact that Yang Chun could appear at the first moment meant that the situation was completely under Yang Chun's control. He was obediently stored in the Mountain River geographical map by Yang Chun. The moment Old Demon came in, he saw the three-eyed Yang Jian and the uniquely shaped Neza. Even though he was mentally prepared, he was still shocked when he suddenly saw these two fierce people. Then, he rejoiced that he had made a timely decision to stand on Yang Chun's side. Here are two array flags for the refining array formation. Old Demon, he was able to come up with such a complete plan, not just for show. He had his own way of doing things. He directly took out two small flags and handed them to Yang Chun. The flag array is still in operation. As long as you input spirit energy into the array flags, you can gather the spirit energy into the refining array formation. At this time, as long as you help one side, the other side will definitely lose. Yang Chun took the two array flags and admired Old Demon very much. The fact that Old Devil was able to set up this refinement array formation in the Zhao family and trap hundreds of thousands of Zhao family disciples in it showed that his ability to set up arrays was extremely rare. However, it was obvious that Old Demon was talking about two refining formations. In other words, one of the formation flags in his hand actually belonged to the Black Heaven sect. In other words, at least one of the Zhao family's high-level spies had taken out this refining formation on the shore of the mysterious Heaven sect. That was how all the mysterious Heaven sect's power was focused on this formation. It could be said that Old Demon had the mystic Heaven sect and the Zhao family running around in circles all by himself without them even realizing it. What did it mean to be brilliant? That's what it is. If I don't help either side, what can I do? Yang Chun asked with a smile. He didn't believe that Old Demon didn't know what he was trying to do, so he directly asked how he could benefit from it. Then, seniors, please refine these two array flags first, then refine a large number of similar ones. After the experts go out and connect them in the Mountain River geographical map, they will slowly nibble away at the mysterious Heaven sect and the Zhao family's array flags. Old Demon replied with a smile, "Don't worry, I've already tampered with the design of these array flags. I used a special method to refine them, so the people at the eye of the array won't know at all. When they nibble away at more and more array flags on both sides, it's actually equivalent to them helping you refine the divine realm." Old Demon, he had already calculated everything. It all depends on how much you can refine and nibble away before they find out. If you have the absolute upper hand, you can control the entire refining formation and make one of the array flags self-destruct at will. At that time, whoever is responsible for the self-destruction of the array flag will suffer the backlash of their own full strength. After Old Demon finished speaking, he also explained the specific method he used to scheme against the Zhao family and the mysterious Heaven sect. However, he still left a big pit for Yang Chun. That was, Yang Chun had to be fast enough and refine enough array flags, otherwise he wouldn't be able to grab many at all. This was a big pit, and it could also be regarded as Old Demon Yi's test for Yang Chun. If Yang Chun could complete the plan in this situation, it would show that the power on Yang Chun's side was so strong that Old Demon, he could completely rest assured and not worry about any problems. Otherwise, Old Demon, he would probably make some other decisions for his own safety. Yang Chun saw through Old Demon Yi's mind at a glance. He was not surprised at Old Demon Yi's suspicion at all. If Old Demon, he didn't have any doubts at all, then there would be a problem. Wasn't it just refining two array flags? As soon as Xiao Tian came out, he directly swallowed the aura of all the people on the two array flags, and then Yang Chen's powerful three purities secret art spiritual sense directly penetrated into the deepest part of the array flags and refined the two array flags without any effort. There was no need for Yang Jian and Neza to deal with such a small matter. Ignoring old Demon Yi's surprised gaze, Yang Chun threw it casually, and the two array flags were inserted into the ground in two directions. Then, Yang Chen's third primordial spirit discussed with Hutu goddess's primordial spirit, and Hota goddess began to control the power of the mountain river geographical map and began to refine the same array flags according to the array flags that had been refined by Yang Chun. Hota goddess controlled the complete two realms of the mountain river geographical map, plus the power of hundreds of millions of creatures in it. It was too easy to refine this kind of array flag that seemed complicated but was extremely simple for the goddess. The array in the array flag was very complicated, but for the goddess who controlled the entire mountain river geographical map and the heavenly Tao, what was the difference between complicated and simple? Just in front of old Demon E, the two array flags became 4 in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, 4 became 8. 8 became 16, almost doubling the speed of gathering. In a short while, there were tens of thousands of array flags. Is this enough? Yang Chen looked at the stunned old Demon E with a smile, patted him on the shoulder, and asked, "Enough, enough." Old Demon E could no longer suppress his shocked voice. He couldn't imagine that it would take thousands of experts to refine enough array flags for decades to refine even in the Zhao family or the Mystic Heaven sect, but it was even easier for Yang Chun than to plant them directly. This kind of terrifying power was completely beyond his imagination. Cultivators with enough cultivation, each of you just need to input your spiritual power with all your might. Old Demon, he didn't dare to play any other tricks. He didn't hold back and took out his final technique, which was an even larger formation flag. After refining this formation flag, you can control these formation flags and then devour the formation flags on the other side one by one. As long as you control this array flag, the refining on both sides is actually just helping you. Old Demon E watched as Yang Chen easily eliminated his aura on the main array flag and didn't show any dissatisfaction. If you want to annex the Divine Realm, it's best to fuse the mountain river geographical map with this array flag. This array flag is equivalent to the connection point of the two spaces. When they think they've succeeded, the Divine Realm will be yours. Chapter 2657. It had to be said that old Demon Yi's plan was indeed flawless. He was indeed worthy of being the old Demon Yi who shocked the immortal world in his previous life. It was just that he was unlucky in his previous life. Since he was on Yang Chen's side in this life, it was completely different from his previous life. Yang Chen didn't refine the main formation flag. After dispelling old Demon Yi's aura, he directly let Goddess Hutu refine it. This also meant that the mountain river geographical map refined the main formation flag. After the mountain river geographical map refined the main formation flag, the God Realm would directly enter the mountain river geographical map, saving a lot of trouble. Having reached this point, Yang Chun didn't say any polite words. He directly gave old Demon Yi an affirmative look, then patted him on the shoulder and left the sentence. In the future, as long as you don't make people suffer, you can do whatever you want. If I can cultivate in peace and stability, only a fool will kill without any reason. Old Demon Yi knew that this was Yang Chen's promise to save his life. With this promise, it could be said that Yang Chen, who had refined the God Realm and controlled the 3 realms, could definitely do it. Old Demon Yi was such a smart person. In his previous life, he was regarded as a devil because he had no choice. In this life, he didn't have to do those bad things to live freely. Why would he destroy his own foundation? Smart. Yang Chun gave old Demon Yi a thumbs up. It was easy to talk to smart people. Are we even? Old Demon Yi asked Yang Chun. Yes. Yang Chun nodded with certainty. Old Demon Yi's gift was not small, but Yang Chun asked himself that it was absolutely worth it to give old Demon Yi. Old Demon Yi cupped his hands at Yang Chun and was about to leave with a smile when Yang Chun suddenly heard Goddess Hutu's voice through her 3rd primordial spirit. Hearing this voice, Yang Chen's expression changed, and he called out to old Demon Yi strangely. Old Demon, he looked at Yang Chen in surprise, wanting to know why. That. Yang Chen's voice was a little slow, and his expression was very strange. He said hesitantly, "A big shot has taken a fancy to you and wants to take you in as a disciple. I don't know if you're willing." "I'm willing. Why wouldn't you be willing?" Old Demon, he didn't ask who it was and directly answered that he was willing. In his mind, however, he was thinking, what kind of person can make Yang Chen a big shot? It would be weird if he wasn't willing. "All right, walk in that direction. The Lady of Earth will find you." Yang Chen pointed in a random direction. After all, as long as it was in the Mountain River geographical map, the Lady of Earth could find Old Demon anytime and anywhere. It had to be said that Old Demon Yi's luck was simply too good. Putting aside the fact that he was even with Yang Chen, because he had absorbed the array formation set up by the Lady of Earth, the Lady of Earth had also seen his potential and wanted to take him in as a disciple. This fellow's future was limitless. "Oh." Old Demon, he subconsciously agreed. Then he suddenly reacted and looked at Yang Chen in disbelief. "Goddess Hutu?" Yang Chen nodded heavily and didn't say anything. Old Demon Yi's face was filled with surprise. After standing in a daze for a while, he suddenly ran in the direction Yang Chen pointed and shouted, "Master, I'm here." This fellow's luck has really turned for the better. Yang Chen sighed in his heart, but he wasn't envious. If Yang Chen was willing to find a big shot to be his master, he would have long become a disciple of the three pure ones. Yang Chen wouldn't regret it in his next life if he became a disciple of Gao Yu again. The Zhao family and the Mystic Heaven sect have been very happy recently. They discovered that the areas they refined were increasing, and it was greatly increased than before. This also meant that they had the upper hand in the battle against the other party and were seizing more territory. As long as the territory they seized was large enough, it meant that more of the complete divine realm would be controlled. According to this trend, it wouldn't be a dream to completely refine the divine realm within 1,000 years and kill the other party. At that time, the divine realm would be completed, and it wouldn't be a problem to control the immortal realm and then the three realms. The people of the Mystic Heaven sect looked forward to the reappearance of their former glory and even more glorious scenes, while the people of the Zhao family wondered about the day when the hard work of their ancestors finally came true and the glory of becoming a celestial being in the heavens above. No one on either side knew that the territory they thought was expanding was just an illusion given to them by Yang Chen, Gong Sunling, and the Lady of Earth. Gong Sunling was the owner of the Mountain River geographical map. Yang Chen's third primordial spirit was the main artifact spirit, and the Lady of Earth's primordial spirit was the secondary artifact spirit. The three of them joined forces and made countless copies of Old Demon Yi's formation flags. As long as it was a cultivator in the Mountain River geographical map, almost everyone had a formation flag hidden beside them, but no one knew it. When every cultivator was cultivating, fighting, and living, they would unconsciously input their spiritual power into the formation flags. The result was that the flag array in the Mountain River geographical map, plus the main formation flag, quickly became the strongest of the three parties in the game. With such a large number of flag formations, it was too easy for them to plot against the people of the Zhao family and the Mystic Heaven sect through the formation set up by Old Demon Yi. Not to mention that even Madame L.V. Zubai, Yang Jian, Neza, and the rest of the dragon race had joined in. No matter how powerful an expert was, they could only end up in a miserable state when besieged by so many experts. This wasn't even considering the fact that the Lady of Earth was in charge of the overall situation. If necessary, Brother Li Cheng would also take action. With such a lineup, anyone who dared to call themselves an expert in the immortal world would have to obediently give in. One by one, they were silently conquered, and even the people who were conquered didn't know that the formation flags in their hands had changed allegiance. The illusion that the Zhao family and the Mystic Heaven sect's masters felt that the refining area was increasing was the sum of the situation they controlled and the Mountain River geographical map controlled. As more and more parts of the Mountain River geographical map were refined, it gave both sides the feeling that they had the absolute upper hand. Originally, it was a confrontation between the two sides, but now it suddenly became a cooperation between the two sides. with the help of the mountain river geographical map. The result of the three parties working together was that the divine world and soaring heaven king palace were almost completely refined and were in the final stage of the complete fusion. At this time, the big koan came in handy. In a place that others couldn't see, as long as the small big koan stayed there for a period of time, it would leave behind a stable space. Even in the process of the fusion of the two spaces with the addition of the big koan, it sped up a lot. On the 900th year, just over 910 years had passed. The people from the Zhao family and the profound heaven sect were shocked. At that moment, all of them realized that they had completely refined the divine world. Moreover, half of the divine world had merged with the soaring heaven king palace completely. They were only one step away from becoming a real world. Just as both sides were waiting to enjoy that moment of glory, one of Yang Chen's feet stepped directly into the divine world and stood in this space. Chapter 2658. When Yang Chen stepped into the God realm, the experts from the Zhao family and the Xintian sect realized that they could not move. In an instant, everyone turned pale with fright. The Jade Emperor and the higher-ups of the Xintian sect watched in horror as they moved quickly. However, they did not want to move. They were being controlled by someone else. One could imagine how shocked they were. Since when did the Jade Emperor, who commanded the three realms, lose control of his own actions? The Zhao family's several great ancestors were equally shocked. They suddenly found themselves in a completely unfamiliar environment, and they were even in their own refined space. As long as they were alive, this kind of change would inevitably cause them to be incomparably shocked. The next moment, both sides saw each other and instantly recognized each other. The people of the Zhao family obviously knew what the higher-ups of the Xintian sect looked like. No one would dare to imitate the Jade Emperor's attire and appearance, so it was normal for the Zhao family to recognize the people of the Xintian sect. However, the people of the Xintian sect had never seen the core experts of the Zhao family. In this situation, when they were fighting against the Zhao family, they suddenly lost control. It could only be said that they had fallen into the enemy's trap. If these experts were not the core higher-ups of the Zhao family, then what were they? In the blink of an eye, countless thoughts went through the minds of the higher-ups of both sides. At this moment, when even they could not control themselves, everyone thought the same thing. If even people of their level were controlled by the other party, then the disciples would definitely be in an even worse state. At this time, they would have to see if the other party was willing to let the disciples of their own sect go. No one thought about anything else. They all thought that it was the enemy's trap. Failure had become inevitable. They just had to see if they could spare the lives of some loyal disciples. At a time of life and death, they could only see what they had to exchange. We surrender. We surrender. In a flash, the Jade Emperor and the Zhao family's elders made the same decision. Since it was a fact that the other party controlled the God realm, it was inevitable that the other party would rise and control the three realms in the future. There was no need to sacrifice the lives of all the disciples. Even if they were definitely going to die, they had to fight for a way out for all the disciples. Both sides said the same thing at the same time. Then, everyone looked at each other in shock. They did not understand what the other party meant. Then, everyone realized at the same time that they were all failures. At the same time, they had been plotted against by a hidden third force. Who was it? The people on both sides could still move their heads freely. Everyone looked around, but they could not see a single person. There's no need to look. It's me. Yang Chen's voice rang out at the right time. Then, he appeared between the two sides. Yang Chen. All the people on both sides recognized Yang Chen, and they all shouted out in anger. I can hear you. You don't have to be so loud. Yang Chen looked to his left and right and felt uncomfortable talking like this. With a thought, the people on both sides involuntarily flew together to face Yang Chen. Everyone felt a chill run down their spines when they saw what was happening to their bodies. To be able to plot against both sides silently and to be able to control the divine realm, only Yang Chen and the mountain river geographical map had this possibility. However, it was too late for him to think of this now. The Taishamen in the mortal world have always wanted to kill me and destroy my Chunyang palace. Yang Chun did not wait for the Jade Emperor to ask for the reason for his betrayal and directly said, "Not only did they arrange high-level spies in my Chunyang Palace, but they also destroyed my Chunyang Palace. If I wasn't smart, Chunyang Palace would have been destroyed long ago." In one sentence, he explained why he was enemies with the Xintian sect. How could this kind of life and death hatred be easily resolved? Yang Chun was definitely deliberately dealing with the Xintian sect. Everything before was just an act to numb the Xintian sect. "If I had known, I would have killed you when you ascended from the spiritual realm to the celestial realm," Sect Master Wang said hatefully to Yang Chun and then said nothing more. If he had known this earlier, the Xintian sect would have had countless opportunities to kill Yang Chun. Unfortunately, no one knew, so they ended up like this. The Zhao family imprisoned me for hundreds of years in the mortal world for no reason. If I didn't surrender, they would kill my family. I don't need to say whether I am an enemy or a friend, right? Yang Chun said to the ancestors of the Zhao family. He also told them about the feud between him and the Zhao family. "If I had known this earlier, I would have killed you when you ascended from the spiritual realm to the celestial realm," one of the ancestors of the Zhao family said hatefully to Yang Chun. His words were exactly the same as Sect Master Wang of the Xintian sect, but the regret and hatred he expressed were exactly the same. If he had known the current result, he would have tried to kill Yang Chun in the spiritual realm and the celestial realm as early as possible. Whether it was the Jade Emperor, the Xintian sect, or the Zhao family, apart from Sect Master Wang, anyone else's cultivation far surpassed Yang Chun's. However, they were now in the mountain river geographical map. No matter how high their cultivation was, they couldn't be higher than the Lady of Earth. They couldn't be stronger than the mountain river geographical map that had absorbed and refined the God realm to supplement the three realms. They could only be slaughtered. "You're dead. I'll give you two choices," Yang Chun said to the dozen people in front of him. "Die here or die in the Immortal slaying platform." "What about our disciples?" one of the ancestors of the Zhao family asked. "I can spare their lives," Yang Chun said to the ancestor of the Zhao family. "However, if they want to court death again, I don't mind a little." "What about the disciples of the Xintian sect?" The Jade Emperor also knew that he couldn't escape at this moment. When he heard that Yang Chun could even spare the disciples of the Zhao family, hope rose in the Jade Emperor's heart. They can live too. Yang Chun also gave the Jade Emperor a guarantee. As long as they don't think about doing stupid things in the future, they can live well. Life and death are actually in their own hands. I won't kill indiscriminately, but I'm not afraid of killing indiscriminately either. Whether it was the Jade Emperor or the ancestor of the Zhao family, these guys at least still thought about their own disciples. At the last moment, they wanted to find a way for their disciples to live. On this point, they were qualified as sect masters. Yang Chun agreed with their thoughts. The disciples of the Xintian sect and the Zhao family had already passed through the mountain river geographical map. They couldn't cause much trouble. Yang Chun wasn't afraid of them causing trouble. "I'll enter the Immortal slaying platform." The Jade Emperor made his decision first. "If I can enter the Immortal slaying platform, I won't have come to the celestial world for nothing." Enter the Immortal slaying platform. The ancestor of the Zhao family was the same. Immortal slaying platform. The higher-ups of the other two sides all chose the Immortal slaying platform. Just as the Jade Emperor said, the Immortal slaying platform wasn't a place that just anyone could enter. If they could enter the Immortal slaying platform, they wouldn't have come to the celestial world for nothing. In the next moment, Yang Chun and the Jade Emperor appeared in the Immortal slaying platform. Yang Chun stood on the high platform of the Immortal slaying platform. He held the Immortal slaying saber in his hand and spoke coldly to the Jade Emperor beside him. Every injustice has its perpetrator. Every debt has its debtor. Chapter 26:59. Yang Chun stood on the Immortal beheading platform with more than a dozen heavenly yuan pills in his hand. This was left by the Jade Emperor, the senior members of the Profound Heaven sect, and several ancestors of the Zhao family. The senior members of the Profound Heaven sect were beheaded. The ancestors of the Zhao family were beheaded. The divine realm became the immortal world in the Mountain River geographical map, and the Lingxiao treasure palace was also refined. The disciples of the profound heaven sect and those of the Zhao family were now meat on a chopping board. If he wanted them to live, he would live. If he wanted them to die, he would die. Although he promised a few dead people not to cause trouble for their children, the premise was that those guys had to be honest. Otherwise, Yang Chun didn't mind killing them. At this point, the hatred of Yang Chen's previous life could basically be said to have been completely released. There was hatred for revenge. There was resentment for resentment. It was all over. Even the favor that Yang Chen owed in his previous life, Old Demon Yi also paid back, and the Palace Master also changed the tragedy of the past. The only one that Yang Chun felt that he had not paid back was Gao Yu. That was the person that Yang Chun never wanted to pay back, and he always wanted to be with her. His great hatred was avenged. Yang Chen suddenly felt empty in his heart, as if he had lost his goal in front of him. But soon, Yang Chen laughed. Hatred should never be the theme of life. He, Gao Yu, and the girls still had a good time to spend. There was no need to feel empty at all. In the sea where the Zhao family's nest was located, many cultivators were still besieging the formation at this moment. Seeing that the resistance of the formation was getting weaker and weaker, and the formation was broken in front of them, all the cultivators involved were greatly refreshed. Suddenly, the huge formation suddenly flashed, and each line of the formation radiated a dazzling light. All the cultivators were taken aback, and then they turned around and fled without thinking about it. This was clearly a sign that it was about to explode. Anyone who stayed there and waited for death would be a fool. Boom! The huge formation brought about a violent explosion. The sky fell and the earth shook. Even the cultivators flying in the air really felt that the whole vision was shaken a few times before it stopped. There weren't just a few explosions. What followed was another scene of doomsday. All sorts of scenes of the sea drying up, rocks crumbling, and the sky collapsing appeared before everyone's eyes. Even a fool could see that this was not an ordinary explosion of a formation. It was clearly the explosion of a huge spatial magic treasure. When everything calmed down and the dust settled, what appeared before the group of cultivators was an exceptionally terrifying scene. There was no doubt that the array formation had been destroyed. The key was that the ruins at the center of the array formation had also been destroyed. Due to the violent explosion just now, a huge crater with a radius of at least 10 million miles was formed on the vast ocean. The surrounding seawater was still surging in crazily, but the crater was so big that it could not be filled in a short period of time. It directly formed a huge whirlpool here, slowly rising. Countless ferocious sea beasts were caught in this terrifying ocean current and were spinning uncontrollably. The cultivators could see the fear in the eyes of many huge sea beasts, but none of them dared to move forward. They just stared blankly at the area, wanting to cry, but having no tears. Hundreds of years of hard work had gone to waste in an instant. Other than useless ruins, they had obtained nothing. At the same time, an earth-shattering explosion came from the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches in the capital of the Heavenly Courts. It directly alarmed all the cultivators in the capital of the Heavenly Courts. The important figures who had the right to enter the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches put down what they were doing and headed straight for the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Not to mention the important figures in the capital. Even the ordinary cultivators and servants knew that the Jade Emperor had borrowed the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches to go into seclusion for 1,000 years. What was the meaning of this sudden explosion? What kind of big change happened? With such a huge explosion, who would care if the Jade Emperor was willing to let them in? Even if the Jade Emperor was unwilling, they would still force their way in. After all, the Jade Emperor was from the Xintian sect. The cloudy palace of the Golden Arches was still standing in its original spot. Seeing this scene, everyone felt that it was strange. It would be strange if the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches could be destroyed by an explosion so easily. The hall was in a mess. All sorts of things that everyone was familiar with were almost all deformed. That was the power of the explosion. Everyone only took a glance before starting to search for the owner. Things were just things. What was important was the Jade Emperor situation. Unfortunately, there was no one in the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Other than the cultivators who came in later, there was not a single living thing. Where did the Jade Emperor go? Where did the servants go? This was what everyone wanted to know the most. Very quickly, each of the major sects sent out 2 elder-level experts to investigate the incident in the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. They had to find out what exactly happened. Next, the news of the explosion in the ocean also spread here. Then, something even more shocking happened. When the experts in charge of the investigation found the Shantian sect, they realized that other than a few nobodies who kept up the facade, the Shantian sect had become an empty shell. The disciples of the Shantian sect were immediately taken down and interrogated. In the end, they got some clues from an elder who was in charge of the Shantian sect's scripture depository. The disciples of the Shantian sect had been brought into the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches by the Jade Emperor and the sect leader, but they didn't know what exactly they were doing. It was easy to connect the dots. It wasn't a secret that the Zhao family had a half-world of divine realm. Thinking about the huge explosion in the ocean and the explosion in the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches at almost the same time, if the major sects still couldn't connect such an obvious clue, they would all be idiots. The experts of the major sect weren't idiots. Therefore, they quickly came to a conclusion. The Jade Emperor entering the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches to cultivate in seclusion was a lie. The real reason was that he brought the disciples of the Shantian sect to refine the Zhao family's divine realm. They didn't know where the Shantian sect got the news and found a chance to refine the Zhao family's divine realm. Therefore, they hid in the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, a place that no one expected, and calmly set up the refinement. The Zhao family was definitely unwilling to be refined by the Shantian sect, so they fought back. However, in the end, they were really helpless. In order to prevent the divine realm from falling into the hands of the Shantian sect, they tried their best to cause the divine realm to self-destruct, which resulted in the huge explosion in the Zhao family's lair in the ocean. As for the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, it naturally backfired when the Zhao family self-destructed, blowing up all the arrangements that the Jade Emperor had set up. As for where the Jade Emperor and the disciples of the Shantian sect went, everyone was looking forward to it. They probably thought that they had the upper hand and entered the divine realm. Then, as the divine realm self-destructed, the disciples of the Shantian sect and the Zhao family became the burial objects of the divine realm. They didn't find any corpses, but everyone wanted to believe that it was true. In particular, during the years of investigation, not a single disciple of the mysterious Heaven sect or the Zhao family had appeared. This matter had already been confirmed. Chapter 2660. Everything was an illusion presented by Yang Chan to everyone, just to let everyone know that something had happened to the Shantian sect and the Zhao family. As for how the parties interpreted it, it was the business of each party. Yang Chen's mind was no longer on these things. The Jade Emperor was gone, but the heavenly court could not be without a master for a day, so the major sect competed fiercely. The big shots of the heavenly court were not easy to deal with. In the face of the title of Hao Ian Emperor, they were all tempted. For the time being, the affairs of the heavenly court were managed by the temporary disposal agency designated by the Jade Emperor before he went into seclusion, but the competition for the position of the Jade Emperor had reached its climax. Take a good look. Big Brother Li Cheng and Yang Chun did not care about the chaotic situation. They just drank wine freely. Big Brother Li Cheng did not forget to point out to Yang Chun when he was drinking, "Don't think that you have no desires when you cultivate to the immortal world. Look at them, and you will understand." The women had been serving Yang Chun. At this moment, they looked at the changes in the heavenly court from various channels, and they all sighed. Among those who were fighting for the position, there was no lack of predecessors of their sect. They used to think that he was a master, but now they found out that he was just a mortal. Fortunately, none of the predecessors on Yang Chen's side had such thoughts. Ancestor Liu was a lazy person. He didn't even care about the sect he created. Later, he threw it to the head of the palace. He took Madame Bai to the newly refined Immortal world by the Mountain River geographical map. Yang Jian and Neza were two fierce people. They liked to fight and kill, but they didn't like any tricks. They would not even look at the position of the Jade Emperor. The ancestors of the Dragon Clan did not care about this. They were now happily arranging the great events of the Dragon Clan. Yang Chen promised that if the Mountain River geographical map was independent of the three realms, he would take them with him. Now was time to fulfill the promise. What do you think? Big brother Li Chung looked at Yang Chen's thoughtful look and couldn't help but ask him. It's normal. Yang Chen seemed to be very emotional. He smiled and shook his head, then nodded and said, "This is human nature. You're not angry?" Big brother Li Chung thought that Yang Chen would be angry at those who fought for the position of Jade Emperor. In the end, Yang Chen was so nonchalant. There are so many cultivators with different thoughts. Wouldn't the three realms be in a mess? What's so annoying? Yang Chen laughed. The same rice feeds all kinds of people. Some like this, some like that. Some pursue power, and some are willing to live a simple life. Isn't this the wonderful thing about this world? If the three realms were filled with living beings like you and me, with the same personalities and the same pursuits, then how monotonous and boring would this world be? This time, Big Brother Li Chung didn't say anything else. He just nodded his head, picked up his wine cup, and lightly touched Yang Chen's cup. The two of them drank a cup with great tacit understanding, looked at each other and smiled. Everything was understood without words. When the girls saw their big brother Dao ancestor and their husband's elegant actions, they were momentarily dazed. Their husband's back seemed to have a fatal attraction to them. I'm relieved now. After a long time, Big Brother Li Chung said again, refine the three realms. The demon world and the mortal world are still connected, and the demon world and the spirit world are also connected. The Lingxiao Treasure Hall has always been in the immortal world. Refine it all and protect this wonderful world. Yang Chen still did not say anything this time. He nodded heavily and agreed. The various parties in the immortal world fought endlessly and were almost about to use force. On the other hand, Yang Chen began to refine the three realms leisurely. Under the control of the Lady of Earth, the cultivators of the three realms did not notice at all. They had already merged into the world of the Mountain River geographical map bit by bit. Master Yang came out of seclusion and did not disappoint everyone. He successfully advanced to a 9th grade alchemist. Once the pills refined by Master Yang were released, they were well received. Those who took them were even pleasantly surprised to find that Master Yang's pills could also increase the 3 chi of fortune, and longevity. It was simply a pleasant surprise. From then on, Master Yang's pills were highly sought after, and the supply could not meet the demand. Qinyang Palace also went on the right track. When Ancestor Lu's identity as the ancestor of the immortal world was exposed, it became the biggest surprise in the immortal world. All the cultivators were dumbfounded. Fortunately, Qinyang Palace did not care about the discord of the other sect. They also did not think of participating in the fight for the Jade Emperor's position. This caused all the parties to try their best to rope in Qinyang Palace. Qinyang Palace also naturally became one of the super sect in the immortal world. Its overall strength even surpassed a few of the veteran super sect. Yang Chen and Nezi appeared and became best friends with Yang Chen. However, they did not join Qinyang Palace and still acted alone. Just the names of these two ferocious people could suppress almost all the disloyal fellows in the immortal world. After the dragon race ancestor prepared for many years, they finally completed their plan. In the past, when the three realms were in chaos, the dragon race ancestor evacuated the dragon race from the spirit world and gathered them in the immortal world. Aolan and the others were just watching over Ao-san in the spirit world. Once the matter was settled, they would immediately ascend. Since they arrived at a new world, they naturally could not just stay in one world. Even if it was the dragon race, experiencing hardships and experiencing the tribulation was also a natural way of cultivation. Therefore, a batch of dragon eggs that had been prepared for a long time were sent to the mortal world of the Mountain River geographical map by Yang Chun and Gong Sunling. From then on, the dragon race would cultivate normally and ascend normally, just like other races. The demonic chi and demonic chi slowly circulated in the huge world, naturally tending to balance. For cultivators, although the difficulty of cultivation increased a lot, it made the foundation more solid and more resistant to the invasion of various hard demons. Can you tolerate a woman ascending to the throne of the Jade Emperor? In the process of refining the three realms, Goddess Hotu suddenly asked Yang Chen a question. As long as she has both ability and integrity, why not? Yang Chen replied casually. Then Yang Chen learned that Goddess Hotu took a fancy to the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island. The island master indeed met Yang Chen's requirements and fully had the ability to govern the heavenly court, since the goddess valued him. And Yang Chen also felt that this could show the fairness of cultivation. He simply began to support the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island. With the support of Yang Chen and Chunyang Palace, the island master of the Green Jade Immortal Island became the first female Jade Emperor in the world. The Jade Emperor ascended the throne. The long chaos in the immortal world began to calm down, and the three realms returned to normal again. Thousands of years later, the three realms was refined by the Mountain River geographical map and officially became a part of the new three realms. All the loopholes that did not conform to the heavenly Tao rules were made up, and the new three realms solved the balance of demonic chi and demonic chi. The area was wider, and there were more creatures. When everything was on track, Brotherly Chung appeared in front of Yang Chen again. Do you want to go out and see? After drinking a lot of wine with Yang Chen, Brotherly Chung suddenly asked Yang Chen an inexplicable question. Go out? Where are we going? Yang Chen asked inexplicably. Outside. Brotherly Chung smiled and said, outside the three realms, outside the Mountain River geographical map. How do I get out? Yang Chen suddenly realized something. Now, the Mountain River geographical map was the three realms, and the three realms was the Mountain River geographical map. In the past, the three realms could go out from the Mountain River geographical map, and the three realms could also enter the Mountain River geographical map. But now how to go out? If you want to go out, you can go out. Brotherly Chung laughed. Yang Chen was stunned, and then he laughed, and then naturally left the Mountain River geographical map as he did in the past. The next moment, Yang Chen's body came to a completely strange world. This was a wider world, fresher and more comfortable, which made Yang Chen feel that every breath of air was full of a different kind of vitality. The figure beside him flashed, and the figure of Brotherly Chung appeared next to Yang Chen, looking at Yang Chen with a smile. Where is this, brother? Yang Chen looked around and asked Brotherly Chung. The sacred realm, Brotherly Chung replied. This is the sacred realm. Yes. What about the three realms in the past? What about a you, a Ling, and the others? Your world, your women, you take care of them. Why are you asking me? Oh,